back in, get to our second move, right? So a lot of time when you get that jam going forward, that dude's gonna brace, right? He's not gonna just fall down. If he falls down, beautiful, right? He's flat, it's gonna work. Normally they're catching their hands, right? And they're starting to give you some pressure back. So where we're gonna go from there is just using this pressure against him, right? So I jam, whether it's this or a claw, either's fine, he's pressuring back. So if I was driving through this shoulder, I'm pulling back that same way, okay? Top wrestling is really important that we're trying to take him where there's no posts, right? So like this hand's a post, like this elbow can turn into a post, head's a post, knee can slide out to a post, foot's a post, right? So if I try to pull him horizontally, he can post out, right? If I try to pull him straight back, he's got feet there. Where I'm trying to take him is right there. This back and diagonal zone, right? So many of my techniques, whether I got legs in, legs out, tilting, pulling them forward or back, I'm taking them into this back zone, right? There's no post. There's no post in it. So I'm driving, I'm feeling that pressure back. I'm doing a double knee sprawl, right? Just coming back to my knees, pulling on that thigh pry, pulling on my handle, back into this position here. Okay? Call this position TV position, because it looks like you're just kind of hanging out, watching TV on Saturday, eating some popcorn, whatever, right? So, if I reference TV position, this is what I'm talking about. Jamming, right? I got pressure, I'm feeling him pressure back, double knee slide back to here, okay? Very important rule and a mindset to get into. This dude drops to an elbow, we attack that wrist, okay? The opportunity to get to that wrist doesn't show itself all the time, right? Good kids are sealing out. They're not gonna let you get their wrist. If you can get them to an elbow, take advantage of it. Drive over, get them flat. Go to work on that wrist. So we're jamming. I'm feeling that pressure back. Double knee slide, pulling him. Right, he's already starting to come up. I'm gonna pull him over a little bit more to that. Driving over that wrist. Squaring my hips up over top. In a second, and we could probably go to it right now. Let's go to it right now. We're going jam, pull. I'm going to this wrist, thigh pry arm, comes underneath of his armpit, top leg switch. Okay? So I get him to TV position. My handle side, whether it was claw or shoulder, rolls to that wrist. Rolls to wrist. Thigh pry hand goes underneath the armpit like a down block on a shot when we're neutral. What this is doing, if I don't use that, I just try to throw my boot and catch it. If I do this, he ain't catching it. Go ahead, try to catch it. Ready? Go. Even though it's coming. He can't get his arm back because of that down block. Right? So, progression here. You can start on this side, right? One of the safest ways that I get my legs in, like I said, literally was just showing this to the Stanford guys a couple hours ago. Right? So, jamming, pushing, pulling.
And if I leave that wrist up?
If that wrist comes up, I'll kind of stay on the shoulder and pull it down, then go to my wrist. Go to my wrist, down blocking, covering with my hips, getting them flat here. Once he's flat with a boot in, he's in my world. Right? It's a dangerous place to be. Going again. Before I show this a couple more times, who's got questions? Me and coach are starting to sweat pretty good. Yeah. Why not, right? Once you get to that wrist, why let it go? Especially if you got a good tilt, right? You start transitioning to that. Even if you got a boot in, you can use that boot to apply pressure, right? But if you got a good wrist and you can get it while you got your boot in, take your boot out, run that tilt. Right? We can use legs to set up offense on top that's not leg based, right? Just because we have legs doesn't mean, oh, I can only do power abs. Or, oh, I can only do leg tilts, stuff like that. We can still set up our arm bars, our halves, our tilts, our cradles from legs, right? Just think of it as another position, not the, what was it? Think of it as the exception to the rule, not the rule, whatever. I don't know. I'm bad with sentences. But we're pushing, pulling, getting him to TV position. Running over that wrist, down blocking underneath the arm, throwing over top, getting a lot of pressure forward on him. Make sense? Try it. You want to see it again? No, got it? All right, let's try it. 1, 2. All right. So we're going to go over some mat returns. I wanted to stress, coach wanted me to stress as well, but I also think it's extremely important that we have a good mat return. There's nothing more that this frustrates me so much. It frustrates me so much, especially in college wrestling. Because me as the top guy, making this choice of just like, I'll just, whatever. Who needs an extra point from riding time or an extra 30 seconds of making this dude work extremely hard to get out? That's, like, we shouldn't have that mindset. If we have a guy underneath of us, it should be a war for them to escape, right? And this is like, the Army's at the front gate, right? The Army's at the front gate right now. We gotta pour the oil down the walls. Like we gotta be putting out all the stops here because he thinks he's almost there, right? This is when our effort should be highest to keep him back on the back. Because if this dude is almost getting out, right, seeing daylight, and then he's back down from square one, that's how you break guys, right? That's how those guys that were really hard to turn at the beginning of the match are really easy to turn at the end of the match because of mat return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They quit, guys break, right? You might have been there where a guy's mat returned you 5 times in the match, and like that 6th time you're like, I don't know if I want to get up to my feet. I don't think, you start that doubt creeps in. So now we're going to go more technical side, but like I just want you guys to really think how important this is, right? You have to be a dog on a bone working for this mat return. Okay? So let's start down first. I want you guys to think about something, right? When you're pressuring on top, right? Like you're on him, right? You can feel when this guy's moving, right? You can feel when these hands come up and he starts to build, right? You can feel that. It's not a mystery. Your eyes aren't closed when you're back there, right? You know when he's coming up. As I feel him start to come up, right? I can't lock my hands yet, but he's coming up, right? Let's say he beat me. He's all the way up to his feet. I'm already looking for my lock. I don't wait till he gets up and starts like, it's like Tenenza looking for a lock. On his way up, I'm like, okay, I'm looking for my lock. When I do my mat return, I like to get my lock to the opposite hip that I'm starting, right? So if coach is up, coach, you can go like this. Right. I'm on the left side, I'm locked on the right. I'm gonna take a big step to that right side. And do you see how my lock stays in this hip pocket? This lock that was, not very tight, right? But it's there, my hands are locked, you can't get away. This goes from not tight to I don't even have to put my hip in to lift him there. When I put my lock to that side and set to it, his body fills that tight waist, right? And kind of just the torque of it just assists it right there. This is straight Kyle Big Mac, right? He would literally have us go out there with a tight waist, right? and do mat returns with one arm. Because that's how important that setting it on the opposite side to that lift is, right? Like we can squeeze all day, but the physics of that, it just works so well, right? So, I'd like to get my Loctite side, right? I'm still heavy with them. Stepping big, just popping my hips in, bringing his feet off the mat. Sometimes you need to do this, right? A little knee tap to make sure his feet are swinging out. But just as important as the up, right, when you think about mat returns, is the down, right? Because even if I don't take him off of his feet, right, you get to those times where like you're lifting a guy that do this, right? You ever been there? Like coach trying to mat return me, and I'm, right? You're like, oh, I didn't lift him, I can't mat return. If you're pressured, right? So I can get him there, right? But if I pull down hard, should come down, right? Or at least get off balance enough to where I can transition to something else. So that up, just as important as the down. All right. So with all those kind of like side pieces out, full time movement. Okay. Getting my hands up, hopping sides, up, down. Okay. My knees hit the mat before he did, not a slayer. Right? Up. Just like that double knee sprawl. Lift up. Pulling down with my lock. Dropping them to where? TV. Right? So, get him to his feet right there. Start building up. I was already setting my hands for it. I knew he was coming up. Right? Got my hands left. Big step. Big step. Pop hips through. Pop hips through. Swing it. Down. From here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Landing in TV.
This is like a mechanic we need to get. The step, the big step, the pop. He's pulling the guy's waist up with him. He's not sliding up. He's gripping his waist, picking his waist up with his hips. It's not that hard.
My lock
If you have
stays
a
in
power
his hip.
plane, this is pretty easy. Go ahead, coach.
Lock stays in his hip. Step. When I step through, my legs are pretty bent, right? And I just hips through.
That little motion is what we have to master. The step, waist, up. With your hips, with your legs. And the other rest is easy.
Don't let this lock shift to here,
Yes.
right? I'm keeping it in this hip pocket. Attacking this wrist right when you get the now. Don't let him readjust. Bury it.
How do you want to drill it?
We'll just go on a whistle.
Well, it's like just 2 and 2, 5 and 5, bounce up.
Yeah, let's go 2 and 2. 2 and 2. Who's got questions? Yeah. Right, so you just go on quad pod. I'm starting to sink my weight over this hip, right? If he wants to stand up here, he's gonna be walking his hands back and then lifting them up, right? So I'm aware of that, right? He's starting to get his hands close to his legs, right? I'm weighing. He's bringing that hand up, dropping, right? As he's going up, right? I'm heavy over his hips here. All my weight's on this back hook. Or how heavy do your legs feel?
Pretty heavy.
Pretty heavy, right? Those hands come up. Oh. Okay. So I feel them. I feel those hands release. That's when I release from the hip to the foot. Elevate.
And it's up and in. He didn't up and hold. He's up and actually moving into the guy.
I want height. I need height. I don't want him comfortable. Right? So say, like I'm driving. Right? He's working his quads. Come on. I'm like, close. Right?
He stayed on his feet. Guy went down. He didn't fall down with him.
Well, you can, when this dude's like pretty much ready to go, You can jump the gun a little bit. You can drop to that leg before he takes his hands up. I'll show you guys an example. All right, so I'm driving here, I got pressure. I'll do that as well. Side jump to jump. But if his hands come up, I'm going to a traditional single leg. So I am hanging back. All my weight is over his hips. That arms start to come up. Come. So very important that our weight is over his hips and that we're finding that timing where he's starting to come up, pulling the rug out for him. Okay? Show it again.
Yeah, can you show, explain where your hands go on?
Yeah. So let's say like we're working out the home base, right? We got a claw, and this team starts quad pod, right? I'm out to the side. I'm heavy. My claw hand releases to the front of the leg. My thigh pry hand releases to the back. First in on single leg. I want to get to my feet. Okay, so just from here.
Is it important to keep his legs straight?
Yeah.
Just letting your hands come above the knee and below on the ankle.
For me, I just feel like I got more control of the leg when I have both the top part and the bottom part, right? Because they bend in different hemispheres. So like if I can control bottom and top, I can keep that pretty straight.
There's a reason he's not dropping all the way to the ankle with two hands. You know, they're gonna step over you and twist. And
Yeah, they can do more. You know, if you're going quad pod, and I just do this, that is a scramble, right? Like I'm dropping to this foot with the goal of getting right back up to my feet. I'm not dropping to this foot and looking to hang on. Okay? Be the aggressor. Don't react to this dude. He reacts to you. One more. This thigh pry hand's important. That's what loads those hips, right? Alright. Try it. 1, 2. Really getting back to a quad pod and working from there. It's not like that quick, explosive stand-up. So we're going to come about this a little bit differently. Go ahead and just start. This is something that I did a lot in college. I know you guys know Max Dean. Max Dean did this a ton in college. One of his ways he would break guys, you know, over and over this. And every time they try to come to a quad pod, he was dropping to this, demoralizing them. So this dude's coming up to a quad pod, right? So right away, this tight waist / thigh pry, I'm starting to, okay? I just don't want to get too heavy on his leg.
Right.
This is not a one shoe fits all type of motion, right? I don't only just push pull. There's tons of different things that I look for from here. Like just for example, guy stays forward on his hands, right? He's not giving me pushback. I'm not gonna be able to pull him there. I gotta show something else. From there I go half, pull back, right? So that's just one example of a different breakdown if he's doing something different, right? But we're gonna go on to a turn here. Let's just start in TV, right? Get into my boot, and we're here, okay? What we're gonna go to right now, this move is called a nebby, or Mitch Clark calls it a sack of potatoes. At Cornell, we called it a nebby because we had this All-American Mike Nevinger who would torch kids with this, right? Absolutely destroyed. You're watching Nevinger at all? Beast on top. Me as well, I use this move a lot. This move, we're looking to split his legs like this, right? We're looking to turn his knees so they're scissored here. We can do that off of figure 4 hip over and switch in. Or if we're quick with it, if we're quick with our transition, right? She was already kind of split here. I can get to it and just split right away, right? So I'm looking to have my boot leg, right? Flat in between his knees. Coach tries to turn down. Can't. Hips are locked down, right? So from here, right, I split his legs. My back knee slides up to his armpit. Okay. I turn his hips, slide up to the armpit. I'm doing a side headlock over his top head and arm here, right? I'm not going like a Merkle lock, going side headlock right above. From here, I elevate. I get my lock, I go straight up in the air and fall back. Okay? From here, this lock's pretty loose, right? He has a lot of room to maneuver. Scoot back a little bit so I can see right here. I have to relock. I'm gonna take this hand, this underneath hand. I'm turning my bony wrist into his cheek. This other hand is locking on it and trying to squeeze it into my chest. Sorry, yeah, you're good. Should have warned you, my bad. But you're trying to squeeze his face off, right? You're trying to, not illegally, but you're trying to fracture his face, right? That's what I think of when I get to this position. I'm trying to put my bony wrist through his skull, okay? So full motion, let me just show you guys the move. So it makes a little bit more sense right here. It is kind of like some jujitsu stuff, right? So this is a nebby. One thing that we have to be very careful about, and we can work to like kick this foot out so we can't bridge hard, but when a guy's bridging hard into you, he's bridging hard into you. That's pretty much the only thing we really have to be thinking about. If he rolls away from us, it's fine. We're back, right? We're back on top. If he rolls into me hard, that's when it gets dangerous, right? So when we're here and I feel him start to roll in, I basically have to take a top mount. And now we're looking for our full. Okay. Slide off so I have an arm, just tee off. But I have to keep my hips on top. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, we'll probably throw it like 4 more times. Sorry.
So if you get your set of near fall, and you recover back to like this where they're flat, do you have to take the leg out to get your points, or do
You should just be able to go hands unlocked. Yeah. I'm normally looking at the ref like, oh, give me my points. I want to do it again. So, right, we're pushing, pulling the TV, throwing our boot. When we do that setup off of pulling him to TV, his legs are already opened up some. It's pretty easy here to swing it open, and left knee comes up. See how high I'm bringing this left knee? I cannot do this from back here. I don't even know if I can physically lift it properly. It's like if I tried to do a deadlift, not underneath my butt, right? I'm trying to do it up here. Like, how am I gonna deadlift like that? It's not gonna work. I gotta bring my hips under me so I can elevate. Starting to here, getting him flat. Look, I already got him split. Here. So I'm just gonna keep this foot in between, slide my left leg up. He can't turn down right now. I got his leg split. Looking for my lock right away. I don't give him time here. Looking for my lock right away. Pulling up, falling back, relock. Okay, relocking and engaging my hips here. Only thing I gotta be worried about is him turning in really hard. I just take top mount. And the match should be over. So I'm kind of like in the back of my mind, I'm like, it'd be nice if he turned in here, so I'm waiting for it, you know? Yeah. If not, give me my backs. Okay, I'll take my step. Go again, right, we're getting TV. Forward. He's still split, right? He hasn't gone back to, if he goes flat, right, we're just gonna have to go figure four, hip over, enough to where we can turn his hips. Right, we might need the hip over. See how fast I transition? Once I feel that leg split, I gotta get set to it, okay? Lock in, side headlock, going straight up, falling back. This relock's very important. This is, he can move here, right? He can adjust. Here, it's uncomfortable, right? He can still move, but it's very uncomfortable. He's coming up on top of me. Taking top. Taking top now. I don't want to beat up Coach too much more. How do we feel? Good? Okay. A lot of little steps in there. Who can tell me one? What's like a key point that I pointed out?
Get the TV.
Left knee up. Good.
Get the TV. First
Right,
step.
yeah. I'll count that. Split the legs with the foot. Is that what you're saying? I can't hear you. Yes. Good. Good. Yes. Changing our lock to that face crusher, right? Trying to crush his face. Yep, get into our lock right away. Elevate. Take top. I gotta just call it like taking top. You know, like try and put it in like an elevator, basically, yeah. Hips underneath of me? What do you mean by that one? Oh, you mean when I, yes, okay, good. Figure four to open up the hips, good. All right, that's about it. Let's try it. 1, 2. Start thinking like, oh, I can chain wrestle on top. I'm going from one move to the other. I have a stance on top that I gotta stay in good position, right? I'm not on my knees, I'm not pulling people on top of me, stuff like that, right? Think about top and bottom for a matter of fact, right? Same thing, chain wrestling, misdirection, setups, it all applies, okay? So, off the whistle, go ahead and screw up a little bit on that one. Inspect the heels. So, when you're on top, same with bottom, off the whistle, first move, right? Very important. To start off, we'll go over 2, okay? So, what this will be getting me to is essentially my top stance, right? I call it home base. So off the whistle, I'm lining up, I'm gonna be jamming and driving forward and diagonal, okay? Forward and diagonal over the shoulder, opposite of the way that I line up. Stomach hand forward to thigh fly, wrist hands coming underneath to either a shoulder or a claw, okay? So I'm jamming, getting up my toes, right? Coach, partner stay up here like coach, and I'm forward on it. I'm either getting to this shoulder or getting to this claw. But as you can see, look, if I just let go, where we at? I'm gonna stay, right? Drop back down. Here. I'm powerful here. I can move in here, right? I can shuffle, I can change my directions on my feet with bent legs driving, right? I can't do that here. I can try to drive, I can try to shift around. It's way slower, way less pressure, right, coach? Way less pressure. So get in the habit. You can be on top and wrestle on your feet, right? Right? Generate that pressure by driving off of our toes, okay? So going again, first move. Lining up, off the whistle, getting weight on his hands, okay? I'm not diving over the top. I'm trying to drive through him, right? I'm low and I'm driving through him. So that's one first move I like to get to. The other one, I think it's super important to be able to line up on both sides of the body, right? So like traditionally most people are up here, right? Left side. It's nice to be able to mess with this dude's head, right? If you get good enough at lining up on two sides. You go out of bounds, come back in, line up on the right this time. Probably like, oh, that's a little weird. Right? Next time I come out, I might line up on the left. This dude can't get used to your first move because you're shifted, right? You're not hitting the same thing over and over again. So, this time, line up on the right. I'm chopping. I'm actually just getting right back to the same side. See that? Chop. I'm not leaning into it. Just chop, just an arm chop. Chop, knee exchange. Cool. And now where are we at? Home base. Home base, that stance. Right? So, both first moves get me to the same end goal, right? The end goal is here. Here. Home base. We'll show it a couple more times for each, but this is what we'll be working on, right? Just whistle starts, jamming, getting weight forward, how we can then wrestle off of it, okay? So back to this right side. And the reason I like to do this too, look at this, right? If I'm on this side and I really want to get to my claw, off the whistle, I gotta beat this elbow, right? It's a race every time. It's a race every time to get to that. If I line up over here, and I just switch sides off the whistle, ready to go. I already won this race, because I start underneath of it, right? He can't beat me with this elbow, because I already got him beat before the ref even blows the whistle. Right? So that's some ways that we can misdirection, right? Showing you right side so I can go left side. So this is a good first move. Chop switch, and I'm driving. Partner trying to stay up. Or starting off the whistle, jamming. Toes engaged in the mat, right? I'm grounded here, I'm not up in the air or way back here. I'm mobile. Mobile. Does that make sense?
Are you pinching with your knees or not?
Yeah, I'm pinching here and driving with toes. Sometimes, like, you know, he'll come loose a little bit, but I'm putting so much pressure on him that if I feel him start to shift out or bring chest up, like, I'll be able to adjust off of it. And we'll show that in a little bit. Any questions here on those first moves? Here we got him. Right side, yeah. The chop to the claw. So all I'm doing, I'm hitting a knee exchange. Watch my knees here, right? I'm on my right knee. Chop. Switch to that one. Chop, switch to that. Now that I got my claw, gotta get pressure. Okay.
And on the conventional side, you just jump into it.
Conventional side, I'm jamming, getting to my thigh prod, getting to my shoulder here. From after I get that initial jam, going when I'll sink that shoulder, get to my claw. From here, I can just go straight. Got it? Try it. 1, 2.